What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. We've got another Hololive deck this week. This time based off Korone, one of the best doggos in the business. So I wanted to theme this deck more around the Korone level 1 and the level 3 combos. And I just wanted a little bit of stuff in between for like supporting that. Just because I thought it was great that the level 1 and the level 3 work off of the same exact climax combo. And the exact same date at the house climax, which is a 1k1 choice trigger. So I was like, you know what? I just want to do something based off of that and go from there. So it was really fun. I really enjoyed testing this deck, and there's a lot of neat little support that you can put in this. And obviously there's going to be more coming out with Volume 2, so this might get an upgrade in the future, just saying. Well, let's jump right into it. It's primarily yellow with some blue splashed in it for some shenanigans. We got, to start us off, we got this Wishing for a Future with You, Mori Calliope. It's a 3/2/9/5. On attack, you can pick one of your other Hololive characters. It gains 2k power for the turn. You don't have to reverse at level 3 as much for like any of the effects, so it's all good. But that extra power does help. During the turn, this card is placed on stage from hand up to 1 time per turn. When damage dealt by this card is cancelled, you can mill the top card of your deck, burn your opponent for that much, the level of that card plus 1. So, always good. Felt 2 of this is just mandatory in any of the Hololive decks that run yellow. Just really good card. But I found out this Flare does something very similar. But the level 3 Korone is a 3/2/10/5. It's oversized. So, there's a little bit of a drawback with the Climax combo, and you'll see why in a second. I don't use the first effect at all. On play, you can pay 1 to grab back an event from Waiting Room. Any event, it doesn't matter, but I don't really run any of the events. There's another version I wanted to make for this deck based off of more of the Gamers and using the Gamers event a whole bunch, but I settled on this one instead just because it was a bit more fun. But the main thing is the Climax combo. At the end of this card's attack, if Date at the House is in your Climax area, deal 2 damage to your opponent. Then choose 1 Climax in your opponent's Waiting Room, return it to their deck. So that's where the drawback comes into play. Granted, if you swing with this, like if you try field it, it's whatever. But let's say you get like one of the Flare, which I'll explain in a second, and the Callie and one of her on field. You swing with her last, so that all of your damage and burns go through, and then you toss a Climax back into your opponent's deck. So that's just the better thing to do for that. Then 4 copies of that, 2 copies of Shiranui it's like the illustration thing, but it's their hashtags, Shiranui Flare, or like their art stuff on Twitter. 3/2/10k during your turn, if all of your characters are Hololive, she gets an extra 2k, so she's a 12 base. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, this gets the following ability until end of turn, which is pay 1, sack a character, I should say, from your stage to your Waiting Room. And the effect is up to 1 time per turn. When damage dealt by this card is canceled, you can deal 1 damage to your opponent. But you already have that up here 1 time, so you get to stack it up here twice. So during the turn this card is placed on stage from hand, damage dealt is canceled, you can burn 1. So if you pay the cost and everything, you swing, her damage gets canceled, it's burn 1, then burn 1. Really nice extra little off finisher. That was very nice. But I didn't have any healers in the deck, so I added in the Suisei level 3. You can play her at level, she's an early play. If you have 4 more Hololive characters, she gets minus a level in hand and can be played without fulfilling color requirement. I know the rest of the deck is blue, but it's mostly to have extra blue in here for the level 2 combo. So you can play her you can have a mono red deck and still play her. So she gets 500 power for each of your other Hololive characters, and on play you can pitch a card to heal the top card of your clock into your stock. You get back that stock for some more level 3s and whatnot. So really good to have a healer. I just had to, and she's blue, dabba-dee dabba-die. You know, we get to make the opponent die. Then we get to the level 2s. We have this Ozora Subaru, is a 2500 backup. I was about to say a 500 because I was looking at the power. I was like, no, it's not a 500 backup. Wait a minute. It's a 2500 backup, but when you use this card's backup, you can pitch a Climax. If you have extras in hand, because you do run a pants trigger, you can choose one of your Hololive characters in battle, and it gets an extra 3500 power until end of turn. Sometimes this comes up, sometimes it doesn't, but that is a 6000 backup if you so desire. which is really funny too, like, because you can use it if you have extra climaxes in hand and you're about to refresh. You can do this to get that back into the waiting room before the refresh. So that is also very useful, but sometimes just a 6k backup is your opponent's just like, well, how the fuck do I deal with that? So then we have 3 copies of hashtag Shion Drawings, Murasaki Shion, the 217k. It has an early play, but we don't run the Aqua for it, so no early play. Just the climax combo of at the end of this card's attack, you can discard 1 card and sack the climax, the 1k1 pants trigger, Shion's Birthday, to your waiting room. If you do, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 4 Hololive characters from amongst them. Add them to your hand, put the rest into waiting room, and this gets an extra 1000 power till the end of your opponent's next turn. This is just funny. Because you have to sack the climax, you can only pull it off once anyway during the turn. That's why I only run 3 copies, because you're typically just dropping the 1 and going ham by just adding 4, just plussing. You do discard a card, so you're plussing 3 afterwards. But just being able to go, just cool, add all of these to hand is really, really nice. And I honestly didn't know about this this climax combo. Moroku was the one who pointed this out to me, because he lives and breathes this Hololive set, I swear. But we both do at this point. And he's like, oh yeah, you can do the Shion. Because I told him I wanted a climax combo that wasn't at 1 or 3. I wanted one at either a good one at level 0 or one at level 2. And he's like, I got you, fam. And this is what he gave me. So, thank you very much for that, Moroku. It has been very fun testing that. We got 1 copy of this Suisei. It is an anti-change. It's a 2500 backup, and when you use the backup, you can discard 2 cards, choose one of your opponent's characters with a level higher than their level, and put it at the bottom of their deck. Bottom decking anti-change is really, really fun. Then we have the level 1s. I got a couple 1-ofs, which isn't typical for my deck builds, but it works out. 1 copy of this Mel backup. It's a 2k backup, and when you use it, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a Hololive, add that card to your hand and discard 1 card. We got 1 copy of this Shiranui Flare. Even though we do have an anti-change backup, this is an anti-change reverser. She's a 1/1/4/5. When this becomes reversed, if the level is higher than your opponent's level, you can put that character into your opponent's stock. If you do, put the bottom card of your opponent's stock into their waiting room. I just felt this was a really good card to have, so you can get one of 2 different ways of anti-changing. And then lastly is this Watame, is a 2k backup, and when you use the backup, if all of your characters are Hololive, you get to blind stock 1. So just being able to pay for itself, basically. We got 4 copies of this Birthday Party Inugami Korone. It's a 1045. The turn she's played on stage from hand, she gets a bonus equal to the number of Hololive characters you have. So with a full field, she gets plus 25, making her a 7k. With the choice climax, she doesn't have to reverse for her combo. Her combo is that she gives someone an effect for an on reverse search, but she herself doesn't have to reverse unless you give the ability to herself, which you can. Just saying. So she can get really big and give the on reverse search to someone else, like the early play Suisei. I was about to say early play Shion. I was like, wait, that ain't right. The early play Suisei or someone else, and still be able to pull off the combo. But if you do give it to herself, she gets really, really big anyway. Typically, you're going to be giving it to this Korone. This is a promo. I don't know how much the price for this is going to be. It's a 1035. If all of your characters are Hololive, she gains 3k power. So she's a 1065 before anything else. But on play, you can choose a card in your hand and put it underneath her as a marker, and while she has a marker, she gets an extra 2k power. So she can, if you have extra cards in hand, which is perfectly fine if you do, you can make her a 1085. Even if you don't and she's just a 1065, that's still perfectly fine. But typically, if you plus a whole bunch off the Shion, if you plus just a whole bunch in general off like a Brainstormer or something, you can typically have the extra cards to put underneath her as a marker, and then she's going to be the one doing most of your reverses. Also, just, I love the title, is Gimme the Finger, but it's because of the whole Yubi Yubi meme. But it's just fun, like, whoever decided to pick this as the name for the card obviously was, like, not thinking when they did this. It's just funny. But it is a promo, so good luck trying to get that if the price shoots up. But so get it now while you can if it is cheap. So 4 copies of that, and that rounds out the level 1s. Going to the level 0s, we have this level 0 surrendering to crucifixion Inugami Korone as a 0015. The character facing her cannot move to another position of the stage, and if your hand has 5 or more cards, she gets an extra 2k. Really good. So she becomes a 35. Then we have this Korone, which is a Towards the Future Together Inugami Korone. When this is placed on stage from hand, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Put them on top of your deck in any order. So especially if you drop her like, turn 1, you can top check, oh, I see one's a climax. Let's put that as the second card, and then you're good. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, if there is a character facing this card, you can move her to an open position of your center stage. So she's a runner. 4 copies of her. 2 copies of this Mio. She's from the trial deck. And, well, granted, the Korone is also from the trial deck. If you have 2 or more other Hololive characters, all of this birthday party Korone get an extra 1,000 power. So after she loses her buff, she goes down to a 4/5, but with the Mio, she's sitting there as a 5/5, which is vanilla stats anyway, so it works. She has a Brainstorm of pay 1, rest this card, mill 5 for each one, draw a card. 2 copies of this Wishing for a Future with You, Ayundo Risu. This one was really surprising when I saw this. I was like, oh, you just get to set up for days with this card. It's a 002K. She has 2 different on-play effects. The first one, on play, pay 1, pitch 1, search your deck for a Korone card. Second one, on play, you can pay 1, pitch 1, salvage back a Korone card, and then choose one of your characters with Korone in its name, and it gets plus 1,000 power. So you just get to set up your combos, or grab your level 3s, or the promo, or whatever. You get to set up everything with this Risu, and it's as long as you have the stock and the cards in hand to be able to pay for it. If not, you get to, you can obviously, if you don't have to do both, but if you know, hey, I know that I don't have any more Korones, the level 1 combo in deck, let me grab it from the waiting room and give a buff to somebody. This is just a really, really useful staple card if you use this combo in general. Even if you don't use the level 3, just being able, there's a lot of decks I know that do base like their level 1 engine is this level 1 Korone. This Risu's really cool, and it's been a lot of fun to be able to use this for that. Then we have 2 copies of this Towards the Future Together Yukihana Lamy. It's a 00500. It has an act to be able to grab back the 5th generation event. We don't run that, negligible. The real thing is the Brainstorm of pay 1, rest this, mill 4 for each climax, search your deck for a Hololive character, add it to your hand. And then lastly, to round out the level 0s, we have 3 copies of this Yamada Hermione Minato Aqua. As a 00500, if she's in the middle position of your center stage, she gets an extra 3k, making her a 35. And when this is put into the waiting room from stage, you can pay 1, put a Hololive character from your waiting room at the bottom of your clock. If you do, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 2 Hololive characters from amongst them, reveal them to your opponent, put them to your hand, put the rest into waiting room. You can get a decent bit of advantage off of this, which is really nice. It's basically the exact same. Someone pointed this out to me recently. I was listening to Refresh Point, and they were like, yeah, some people didn't realize that the level 0 Laplace Darkness from the premium booster is the exact same card. It's the exact same effects and everything, the buff, as this Aqua, because they both do because of the connection of Yamada and YMD from Laplace Darkness. It's really cool. I didn't know about that, so a little bit of lore for you as well. And obviously 4 copies of Date at the House, the choice trigger. I put the borderless up here just because it looks awesome. And 4 copies of Shion's Birthday, also the borderless 1k1 pants trigger. And that is it for the deck. Korone is best doggo, but all of the Hololive VTubers are awesome. And Squirrel, anyway, so just random thing there. This was really fun to test play, and I'm going to try to see if I can upgrade it when Volume 2 comes out and see what can be done from there. But with that, thank you all very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want. If not, hey, it's all good. Thank you all for swinging by to check out the video, and we will see you on the flip side. Peace.